Hello, 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 and welcome. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are on the planet. Hello, come on, welcome, come on in, have a seat. My name is Anthony Carter. I'm the host, producer, creative genius, madman, and brilliant mind behind a movement entitled That Plant Life, a movement dedicated to supporting Black men 40 to 60 who are committed to combating hypertension without the use of medication and the addition of a whole food plant based lifestyle. Let me say that once again, one more time, for the cheap seats in the back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the planet. My name is Anthony Carter. I'm the host, producer, creative genius, madman, and brilliant mind behind a movement entitled That Plant Life, a movement dedicated to supporting Black men 40 to 60 who are committed to combating hypertension without the use of medication and the addition of a whole food plant based lifestyle. Welcome, come on in and have a seat. Now, last week I talked about one of my favorite topics, which I am very obsessed with these days, which is the topic of Z's, yes, of sleep. And I decided last week, in my infinite wisdom, if you will, that I wanted to talk about it for 2 more weeks. So this is a three-part series. So if you missed last week's, please go back and check it out. I'm going to jump right in with this week's. This week's title: The Sleep Cure: Why Better Rest is the Key to Beating Hypertension and How It Worked for Me. The Sleep Cure: Why Better Rest is the Key to Beating Hypertension and How It Worked for Me. Now, as much as I enjoy pop culture, I am also a bit of a science fiction and science geek. So I love reading reports and statistics and finding out what people all over the world are doing, to find out what people here in America are doing, what we're struggling with, what we are challenged with, how we have figured out some things, how are there some things we are still struggling with. That is a conversation and a topic for a different talk. We are talking about sleep this week. Here's an interesting tidbit, fun fact that I found out recently. It said that Americans in America, 33% of adults, which means 1 out of 3, report inadequate sleep. So that means if you know 3 people, one of them is not sleeping adequately. So 33% of Americans, of adult Americans here, are reporting inadequate sleep. 40% of Americans accidentally fall asleep at least once a day, once a month, right? So that means 33% of people who have reported this, who have decided to be a part of this study, are not receiving adequate sleep, and 40% of people fall asleep at least once a day, at least once a month. I don't know about you folks, but that sounds like some scary stuff to me, right? Now, I've been thinking about why are we so sleep deprived, and I have a theory. Now, let me take you back to when I was a young man, right? Young and fresh faced, young and still beautiful. 1995, picture it if you will. I was 27 years old, right? I moved to New York City. I got caught in the trap that so many people are caught in these days, and we're going to put a moratorium on. Do you know what that trap is? I'm going to let you sit with that for just a moment. Yes, I got caught in the big H trap, the hustle trap, the hustler trap, right? Nothing illegal, but the hustle trap, the being on the treadmill, right? The running, running, trying to figure out the next thing, trying to get discovered, trying to figure out and validate my worth, trying to get people to see me, trying to get people to hire me, trying to get people to invite me to work on their projects. Hustle, 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 right? That was my 20s, a good chunk of my 30s until I got to be in my 40s, and I said, enough of this nonsense. But I digress. Let me take you back. So, yes, in my 20s and 30s, it was all about the hustle. I was a working actor every now and again, rarely getting paid into my last year acting in New York City. However, not getting paid did not stop me from hustling, right? I remember doing, being in one show, learning the script for another show on the train, on the subway, going home at night, writing plays, writing shows for myself, producing other people, directing other people, having a comedy show, being on stage performing comedy, looking for the comics to do my show, producing comedy shows, paying people, figuring out how to work just enough to pay people and stay on stage and be in a play all at the same time. Oh yeah, and I was singing at the same time. So I was trying to put a band together, right? A Stevie Wonder cover band. Hustle, 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 hustle. Right? During those days, I didn't sleep very much. I thought sleep was for losers. I thought sleep, as they say now, sleep, I thought, even though they're saying it now, my mantra in the 90s when I was in my 20s and 30s was sleep is the new broke. There's no time for sleep. I used to run around saying I would have plenty of time to sleep when I was dead. Yes, I believe that foolishness and that philosophy. And I trotted out those shenanigans left, right, and center all day, every day, right? Hustle, 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 hustle. I didn't sleep very much. Now, what did that do? Didn't bother me so much in my 20s, didn't bother me so much in my 30s. After I got to be about 40 or 45, I said, there's enough of this foolishness, right? I used to pride myself on sleeping, 3, 4, 5 hours and jumping right back up. As a matter of fact, 15 years ago, when I was 42, I used to get up every day at 4 in the morning and I write from 4 to 8. I'd write for 4 hours. Ask me what time I went to bed. I went to bed every night at 11:18. So that's about, what is that, 4.5, maybe 5 hours of sleep. But I was hustling, right? I was working. I was getting things done. I was getting things done. Now, I'm not against that. I'm not against using some times in your life where you have to do that, right? There are some times in your life, some seasons in your life where you may need to get things done and it may require a little less rest here or a nap during the day for that. But just as a way of life, absolutely not. So I am hereby lowering the boom, putting up a moratorium on hustle culture and sleeping 2 and 3 and 4 hours a night and bragging about it, then telling everybody who will listen how tired you are. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody cares. So let's just stop doing that. All right. As my folks used to say, my West Indian and my Jamaican friends, I lived in Brooklyn, the party's over. So, yes, the party's over. So, go to bed, take care of yourself, do some things differently. You're not going to miss out on anything. You will not miss out on opportunities because you're taking care of yourself and well rested and have a brain that works and you're not troubled by brain fog, right? We get, we don't sleep and then we spend all day chugging a coffee and eating sugar trying to stay awake. I know because I've done it. That's why I know it doesn't work and that's why I know we have to give it up. Now, here are three things you can do to attack this beast, right? So that you can get the rest that you need. Let me quickly digress one more time. Let me say this, there's a difference between being rested, being well rested, and sleeping, right? Many times people will fall asleep. I've done it. You doze off in the chair. That used to be my go to. I would doze off during Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune when I lived in California, right? I was like, oh, I'm so sleepy. I doze off, then get up and go to bed, right? That does not count as sleep. That does not count as rest. There's something completely different, right? Being well rested means you wake up the next day and you're ready to take on the day, right? Your mind is clear. You feel different. You're ready to take on whatever the day brings you. Sleeping and sleeping periodically through the night, and an hour here, an hour there, waking up every 20 minutes. I've done that too, where you wake up every hour on the hour. You are not sleeping well, and that is not a restful slumber, as they say. So let's put that aside. Let me give you a couple of tips that you can use to increase the likelihood, increase the chances, increase the probability, and the possibility that you will have a good night's rest. Okay, let me say before we move on, the hustle culture is over. The party's over. The party's over. Okay, so here are a couple of things you can use to increase the probability of getting a good night's rest. First thing, have a fixed bedtime and a fixed wake up time. What does that look like? It looks like this. If you're going to go to bed every night at 9 or 9:30, don't do it Monday through Friday because that's when you work. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is just a free for all, right? I have that bad habit. I've been trying to break that one for a number of years. More often than not, I do. Sometimes I don't. During the week, I usually go to bed at a decent hour. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is kind of my way to like buck the system and say, hey, I'm grown. I'm like free willing. I'm gonna do what I want to do. And then what that means is I get up at a different time, right? So the first thing you can do to increase the probability and possibility of having great rest and being well rested is have a fixed bedtime, a time you go to bed, and a fixed wake up time. So if you go to bed at 9:30 during the week and get up at 6 or 5:30, wherever you get up, keep the same program on the weekends. Just keep it going. You'd be surprised what that will do for your rest. The next thing, create a relaxing bedtime routine. Oh, you don't hear me. Create a relaxing bedtime routine. A routine is the way you do things, a wind down routine. Do not start watching a bunch of scary, violent things an hour before you go to bed. I don't know about you, but when I do that, people are chasing me in my dreams. I'm doing all kind, I'm saving the world. I got superpowers. I'm doing everything but sleep because whatever I just saw an hour or two before I went to bed is not running in my head while I'm trying to rest. So you need to create a relaxing bedtime routine. It could look like this. An hour or two before you go to bed, no screen time. An hour or two before you go to bed, maybe a hot bath, maybe a hot shower. An hour or two before you go to bed, maybe don't eat that snack, right? Because your body's going to be digesting that when you're trying to sleep. You don't want your body working that way when you're trying to sleep. You want your body to refuel when you're trying to sleep. You want your brain to take all the things that you've learned that day, all the problems you try to figure out. You want to give your brain that time to put all that together and come up with some wonderful solutions. It can't do that if it's doing that and trying to digest the cheese and crackers. Don't do it. However, your routine can also include some calming music. Might be a little bit of journaling. Whatever you need to do that signals to your brain, to your body, and to your household, we're shutting it down now. We're shutting it down now. We're shutting it down. Whatever that is for you, please, please, please do that. Here is the third way. Now, there are many ways. I'm just giving you three tonight, but here's the third way: use sunlight and activity. Now, that may sound like I'm contradicting what I just said, but bear with me for a moment. Let me explain. There is something about being in the sun and being in the sunlight during the day that allows your body to take in that energy and reset your rhythms. Don't know why it works? I will do some research. I will go into my science geek mode and figure that out for you and share that at a later date. But there's something about getting some sun in the early part of the day when the sun is out bright and shiny and your body takes that in. I now do that every day. I give myself 5 or 10 minutes just to stand in the sun. Sometimes I take a walk. Sometimes I simply stand in the sun and just soak it in. Speaking of walking, I also mentioned activity. Why not incorporate some physical activity during the day, right? Not right before you go to sleep. So right before you go to sleep is not a time to do your 200 crunches and your leg lifts and your resistance bands. We don't want to do that right before we go to sleep. We can do that during the day. I suggest a brisk walk during the day, or maybe a contemplative walk, right? I've heard many people mention things along the lines of a walking meditation, where you're not necessarily walking because you have a place to be or something to handle. You're simply just taking things in around you, right? I have solved more problems and could probably save the world and solve the world's problems after a proper walk. There's something about the sunshine and the air and being out there in it that allows my brain to just go and come up with connections and come up with all different types of solutions for things I'm struggling with. So I suggest you give that a shot. All right, let's review very quickly. Hustle culture, the party's over. The party's over. We're done with that. We're done with that philosophy. We're done with trying to survive on sleeping 4 hours a night. Don't be part of the 33%. Don't be the 40% that dozes off for no apparent reason during the day once a month. Don't be those people. Here are three things. Let me review very quickly. Three things you can add to your list to ensure or increase the probability and possibility and increase the opportunity of having a well rested evening, well rested slumber. First, fix bedtime and wake up time. All of this going to bed and waking up all different times, no. Decide on a time and stick with it. Just give it a try and see how it works. See how it works. Second thing, create a relaxing bedtime routine. Get off those screens. After, of course, you've watched this show, get off those screens. Don't watch horror movies and then go lay down and dream about them like I do. Do yourself, your mate, anybody else you live with in the house, the cat, the dog, the bird, do them all a favor. Don't torture yourself with those nightmares because you've watched something for 2 hours before you went to bed. Third thing, use light and some physical activity during the day. Go outside and get yourself some sunshine, get some sunlight, bask in the sunlight. There's something about doing that your body knows exactly what to do with that sunlight and how to create vitamin D. So do that for yourself. Have a great day. Let me know how that works out for you. All right, that is it for this evening. My name is Anthony Carter. I'm the host, producer, creative genius, madman, and brilliant mind behind a movement entitled That Plant Life, a movement dedicated to supporting Black men 40 to 60 who are committed to combating hypertension without the use of medication and the addition of a whole food plant based lifestyle. I am going to say that one more time for the cheap seats in the back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the planet. My name is Anthony Carter. I'm the host, producer, creative genius, madman, and brilliant mind behind a movement entitled That Plant Life, a movement dedicated to supporting Black men 40 to 60 who are committed to combating hypertension without the use of medication and the addition of a whole food plant based lifestyle. Now, if you like to work with me, by all means, click on the Calendly link. I have it above me. I have it on here every week. I'm offering five, yes, five, cinco free sessions for any Black male who is 40 to 60. Or if you know somebody who fits that category, send them my way. Let's see if we are a match. Let's see if we can get you healthy. The goal is to make sure that your health is what? An asset and not what? A liability. Let me say that again. We want to make sure your health is an asset and not a liability. I'm going to get out of here now. By the way, make sure you check out Mr. Alton Weeks's Cellful Organics. I have the link above me as well. Great juice, great guy. He has a wonderful story that I am dying to tell every week, but I'm going to have him tell it. I'm going to let him have his own story. But suffice to say, he took himself from, he turned his life around from having, he had a heart attack. He was on 7 medications. He's now medication free. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to tease you with that and leave you with that. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Let your loved ones take care of you. Get some plants on that plate. And most importantly, remember to eat like you got some sense. I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.